Jordan Cole froze in the marble hallway of St. Nicholas Children's Hospital, his Armani suit suddenly feeling too tight. The woman walking toward him, confident, professional, beautiful, looked exactly like the mystery woman who had vanished from his bed 3 years ago. But that wasn't what made his breath catch. It was the 2 children beside her. The little boy had Jordan's dark eyes, his stubborn jawline, even the way he tilted his head when curious. The girl shared the same features, softer but unmistakably familiar. "Dr. Obi," his assistant was saying, "I'd like you to meet Jordan Cole, CEO of Cole Hospitality Group and our primary sponsor." Zara Obi's professional smile faltered for just a moment, so brief that anyone else would have missed it. But Jordan caught it. He caught everything about her. "Mr. Cole," she said, extending her hand with practiced composure. "Thank you for your generous support of our pediatric program." When their hands touched, electricity shot through him. The same spark from that night at the charity gala. The same woman who had disappeared like smoke, leaving him wondering if she'd been real at all. If you're already hooked by this incredible story, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. Comment below if you think Jordan will figure out the truth about those twins. 3 years earlier, Jordan had been Nigeria's most eligible bachelor, worth $400 million and proud of it. The charity gala at the Lagos Hotel was just another networking event, until he saw her serving canapés near the silent auction tables. She wore a simple black dress that somehow outshone every designer gown in the room. When their eyes met across the crowded ballroom, something shifted in Jordan's chest. He'd dated supermodels, actresses, socialites. None of them had looked at him the way this woman did, like she could see straight through his expensive facade. "You're not supposed to be working the event," he'd said, approaching with his trademark confidence. "You're supposed to be bidding on the prizes." She'd laughed, a sound like music. "I'm putting myself through medical school. This pays better than my textbooks." Medical school? He'd been genuinely impressed. "What's your specialty?" "Pediatrics. I want to help children who can't afford proper health care." Her passion had been radiant, intoxicating. They'd talked until the gala ended. About her dreams, his business, their shared love of old Nollywood films. When she'd agreed to come back to his penthouse, it felt like the most natural thing in the world. That night had been different from anything Jordan had experienced. Not just physical attraction, but connection. Real conversation between kisses. She'd told him about growing up in Enugu, her father's death, her determination to become a doctor despite the odds. He'd shared things he never told anyone. His fear of being seen as just his father's money, his loneliness despite the crowds that surrounded him. When he'd woken the next morning, she was gone. No note, no number, no way to find her. His security team had tried, but Zara was all he knew, and in a city of 20 million people, that wasn't enough. 4 weeks, he'd gone to every medical school in Lagos, hoping to spot her. Eventually, he'd forced himself to move on. But he'd never forgotten her face, her laugh, the way she'd made him feel like more than just his bank account. Now, 3 years later, she stood before him as Dr. Zara Obi, head of pediatric care for the Children's Health Initiative his company funded. The irony wasn't lost on him. He'd been unknowingly supporting her dreams. "Mama, I'm hungry," the little boy tugged at her scrubs. "Just a few more minutes, Daniel," she said softly, then caught herself. Had she meant to use a name? Jordan's assistant continued the introductions, but Jordan barely heard. He was studying the children, the boy who looked exactly like his childhood photos, the girl with her mother's beautiful eyes but his own determined chin. "How old are your children, Dr. Obi?" he asked, keeping his voice carefully neutral. "They just turned 3, she replied, then immediately looked like she regretted saying it. 3 years. The math was impossible to ignore. Over the following weeks, Jordan found excuses to visit the hospital. Board meetings about the funding, site inspections, charity photo opportunities. Each time, he watched Zara work, brilliant, compassionate, completely devoted to her young patients. And each time, he noticed more similarities between himself and the twins. Daniel's love of building blocks, just like Jordan at that age. His daughter Daniela's habit of biting her lip when concentrating, the same gesture Jordan made during difficult negotiations. "You're obsessed," his best friend and CFO, Emeka, observed during lunch at their usual restaurant in Victoria Island. "I'm not obsessed. I'm curious about the sexy doctor or the kids who look like miniature versions of you." Jordan nearly choked on his suya. "They don't look like me. Bro, I've known you since university. That little boy is your clone. Even my wife noticed, and she's only met you twice." The breakthrough came during a hospital fundraiser. Jordan was mingling with donors when he overheard Daniela talking to another child. "My mama says my daddy is very far away, but someday he might come back," she said matter-of-factly. "She says he has important work to do." Jordan's heart stopped. He looked around for Zara, found her across the room explaining treatment protocols to potential sponsors. She glanced his way, and for a moment, their eyes locked. In that instant, he saw fear, longing, and something that looked like regret. That night, he couldn't sleep. He pulled out his laptop and did what he should have done years ago, hired a proper investigator. Within hours, he had her full history. Zara Obi, 28, born in Enugu. Father died when she was 16, mother remarried and moved to London. Graduated top of her class from University of Lagos Medical School. Gave birth to twins 3 years ago. Father listed as unknown on the birth certificates. The timeline was perfect. Too perfect to be coincidence. Jordan sat in his Range Rover outside Zara's apartment building in Ikeja for an hour, working up the courage to knock on her door. When he finally did, she opened it looking exhausted, still in her scrubs from a long shift. "Jordan, how did you?" She stopped, realizing the obvious answer. "You had me investigated. I had to know." "Know what, exactly?" "Are they mine, Zara?" The question hung between them like a blade. She could have lied, could have denied it. Instead, she stepped aside and let him in. The apartment was small but warm, filled with children's artwork and medical textbooks. Daniel and Daniela were building a fort out of couch cushions, arguing over architecture with a seriousness only 3-year-olds could muster. "Why didn't you tell me?" Jordan's voice was barely a whisper. Zara sank onto her small dining chair, suddenly looking fragile. "What was I supposed to do? Show up at your office and say, 'Remember that girl from the gala?' Well, you're a father now?" "Yes." "That's exactly what you should have done." "And then what?" Her voice rose, causing both children to look their way. She lowered it again. "You would have offered money, maybe set up a trust fund. Visited when convenient." "I didn't want that for them. You don't know what I would have done." "Don't I?" She stood, pacing to the window. "You're Jordan Cole. You buy what you want, discard what you don't. I read about your dating life in the papers, Jordan. Different woman every month. I wasn't going to let my children become just another responsibility you juggle between board meetings." Daniel wandered over, curious about the stranger in their living room. "Mama, who is this man?" Jordan knelt down to the boy's level, his throat tight with emotion. I'm a friend of your mama. Do you want to see my blocks? I built a hotel like the big ones in Lagos." Jordan's heart clenched. Of course he'd built a hotel. "I'd love to see it." For the next hour, Jordan found himself on the floor, playing with children who shared his DNA but didn't know his name. Daniela showed him her drawings, stick figures of a family with a missing daddy. Daniel explained his elaborate building plans with a kind of detail that reminded Jordan of his own architectural presentations. When he finally had to leave, Both children hugged him goodbye as naturally as if he'd been part of their lives forever. "They like you," Zara said quietly as she walked him to the door. "They're incredible. Both of them. You've done an amazing job." She softened slightly. "I did what I thought was best. I want to be part of their lives, Zara. Part of your life. It's not that simple." "Why not?" "Because you'll get bored, Jordan. You always do. And when you leave, you won't just be breaking my heart this time. You'll be breaking theirs too." But Jordan didn't give up. Over the next month, he showed up consistently. Hospital visits became longer. He brought the twins books, toys, took them to the zoo. He helped Zara with groceries, car repairs, the 1,000 small challenges of single parenthood. Slowly, Zara's walls began to crumble. She saw how Daniel lit up when Jordan arrived, how Daniela saved her best drawings to show him. She saw Jordan learning their favorite songs, their bedtime routines, the subtle differences in their personalities. More than that, she remembered why she'd been drawn to him that night at the gala. Underneath the wealth and reputation was a man who listened, who cared, who made her laugh even after exhausting 12-hour shifts. "You're different than I expected," she admitted one evening as they watched the twins sleep. "Different how?" "More real. That night 3 years ago, I thought you were just playing a role. The charming billionaire seducing the help. Is that why you left?" She nodded. "I woke up in your bed and panicked. It felt too good to be true. I convinced myself you'd be disappointed in the morning, that you'd see me differently in daylight." Jordan took her hand. "I looked for you, Zara. 4 months. That night meant something to me too." Their growing happiness was interrupted by Dr. Sarah Adebayo, Zara's former colleague and current rival. Sarah had been passed over for the pediatric position that went to Zara, and she'd been looking for revenge ever since. When she spotted Jordan leaving Zara's apartment one morning, she put the pieces together quickly. A few phone calls to gossip columnists. And suddenly the story was everywhere. Billionaire's secret love nest, Jordan Cole's mystery family exposed. The headlines were brutal. Photos of Zara and the twins, speculation about paternity, questions about her qualifications for the hospital position. The hospital board called an emergency meeting. "This is exactly what I was afraid of," Zara told Jordan over the phone, her voice breaking. "They're calling me a gold digger, saying I used you to get my job. The board is questioning my position. We'll fight this together." "No, Jordan. I won't let my children become tabloid fodder. I won't let them grow up with this hanging over their heads." By the next morning, Zara and the twins were gone. She'd taken a position at a hospital in Abuja, leaving Lagos and Jordan behind once again. But this time, Jordan didn't let her vanish. He flew to Abuja that same day, found her new apartment, and knocked on her door just as she was putting the twins to bed. "You can't keep running," he said when she opened the door. "I'm protecting them." "From what?" "From having a father who loves them. From a family. From a media circus. From growing up thinking they're not good enough because their mother was some nobody you picked up at a party." "Is that what you think? That you're nobody?" "I know what I am, Jordan. I know where I come from. And I know what happens when people like you get tired of playing house with people like me." Jordan stepped closer, his voice intense. 3 years ago, you disappeared before I could tell you how I felt. You didn't give me a chance to prove I was different. You're doing the same thing now. Because nothing's changed. You're still Jordan Cole, billionaire playboy. I'm still the girl who grew up in a one-room apartment in Enugu. Your world and mine don't mix. Then let's create a new world. Just us." Before she could respond, Daniel appeared in the doorway, rubbing sleepy eyes. "Mama, why are you crying?" Jordan knelt down, meeting his son's confused gaze. "Your mama is upset because she thinks I might go away." Are you going away? Not if I can help it, little man. But I need your mama to believe that I want to stay. Daniela joined them, taking Jordan's hand with sleepy trust. Don't go away, Uncle Jordan. We like having you here. Looking at her children, their children, clinging to the man they barely knew but instinctively trusted, Zara felt her last defenses crumble. 6 months later, Jordan stood on the beach at Tarqua Bay, watching Zara teach Daniel and Daniela how to build sandcastles. The morning sun painted everything golden, and for the first time in his adult life, Jordan felt completely at peace. The media attention had died down after Jordan's publicist released a carefully crafted statement about his private family life. The hospital board had fully supported Zara once Jordan made it clear that any attempt to scapegoat her would result in the immediate withdrawal of his funding, not just from their hospital, but from every medical facility in Lagos. Sarah Adebayo had been quietly transferred to a different department after her role in leaking the story came to light. "Daddy, come help us," Daniela called, and Jordan's heart still skipped a beat every time she used that word. "Coming, princess." As he jogged toward his family, Zara caught his hand. "Any regrets?" she asked, echoing a conversation they'd had the week before. "Just one," he said, kissing her forehead. "I regret that we wasted 3 years apart. Maybe we needed those 3 years. Maybe we both needed to grow up a little." Jordan looked at Daniel, who was seriously explaining sand engineering to his sister, and Daniela, who was decorating their castle with seashells. Then he looked at Zara, brilliant, beautiful, stubborn Zara, who'd given him everything he'd never known he wanted. "Maybe you're right," he said. "But I'm never letting you disappear again." "Good," she laughed, "because you're stuck with us now. All of us." As the children ran toward the waves, shrieking with delight, Jordan pulled Zara close. 3 years ago, he'd been a man who collected experiences, who never stayed anywhere long enough to put down roots. Now he was a father, a partner, a man who'd found his home in the laughter of his children and the love of the woman who'd seen through his masks from the very beginning. The flirt billionaire was gone. In his place stood someone better, someone real. And as they walked back toward the car, Daniel tugged on Jordan's hand. "Daddy, are you going to marry Mama?" Jordan looked at Zara, who blushed but didn't look away. "Would you like that, buddy?" "Yes." "Then you could live with us all the time, and we could be a real family." "We're already a real family," Zara said softly. "But yes, I think your daddy should definitely marry me." Jordan stopped walking, his heart pounding. "Is that a proposal, Dr. Obi?" "Maybe it is, Mr. Cole." He kissed her right there on the beach, with their children cheering and the Lagos skyline shimmering in the distance. It was perfect. Messy, complicated, completely unexpected perfect. Some love stories begin with a meet-cute. Others start with a one-night stand and 2 surprise babies. Jordan wouldn't change a single moment of theirs. If this incredible love story touched your heart, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more amazing tales. Comment below and tell us, do you believe in second chances? What would you have done in Zara's situation? Your thoughts keep these stories alive, so don't forget to share your feelings in the comments. Ring that notification bell so you never miss our latest stories, and remember, sometimes the best love stories are the ones we never see coming.